tutorial to refresh a little bit about grids and how to create grids in Figma and how to adapt from mobile to desktop that looks a little bit like that, okay? If you created your auto layouts properly in the mobile version, it should be pretty easy to transfer it, but you are more than welcome to recreate them in the desktop version. It just will take a little bit more work, okay? But let's see how to transfer this to desktop, okay? If you have created the mobile version, let's say that you're ready to start working on your desktop version, you add a new frame, then create the new frame with the dimensions of the desktop. I mentioned that it would be better to choose the smallest one to make sure that it fits on everybody's computer. So I select this one, and when I create this one, this is for my desktop, I can create auto layout right away. And one good option is to first say the height as a hot context. That will make every element that the size of the frame adjusted to the container, so it will basically increase as I add elements. That's what it hot means. And does for you in this case. I also want the direction of the auto layout to be, instead of horizontal, I want it to be vertical in this case, just so the elements are stacked on top of each other. That is, for this specific case, every layout can be different. So let's transfer this element, a quick refreshment on auto layout and how it can work for you when you're transferring to desktop is that I select this navigation, and if I see the settings, I see that the width is set to fill container. That should, what that should do is that as you place it in here, it should adapt to the size of the container itself. And for the height, I want fixed height because I just want that remain to be stable. So I copy, like you normally will copy in your computer. Then I select the desktop and I say paste. Okay, great. You see how this element adjusted to the height. So now the same, I want the same with the hero option. I say one fill and fixed, and then I select, and it keeps adding elements. Then I want this element, and this is the one that is maybe sets the width of the columns. Because one good tip when you are creating your grids for desktop, the size of the width of the columns, that an easy way to calculate it is to select the elements, the width of your mobile version, and use it as a reference. Let's say, for example, in this case, it's 327 because that's the width of this element. So that will make that transition a little bit easier. But that's optional, of course. So I'm going to select this container with all the images, copy, select this element here, and paste. Okay. I want these elements to be next to each other instead of on top of each other. So I'm selecting this one and I just change in the direction to horizontal. And let's say that I want another one, so I duplicate it and it will just automatically add horizontally. And this is a good time to create the style as well, the grid. So if I select the grid, and now I'm going to use this as a width because these elements are all nicely aligned, and that will make your layout to look much better and better organized. So I'm going to select in the main parent and go to the layout grid in the controls panel right here, and then add layout grid, and then the one by default is for 10 pixels, like a square one. In this case, I prefer a column. If you want to use a square one, that's fine. in this case, I just want to select the 3 columns. Okay, I do not want 5 columns. I want 3 columns. So the way to edit that is not very intuitive, okay? So it is clicking on the icon layout grid settings. So tick here, and I say, okay, I want 3 columns. And this is the color, of course. And this one, instead of a stretch means that the columns will adapt to the container. But if I select center, then it will adjust it to the width. So I will change from stretch, and you have to adjust the width of each column. And because I kind of calculate that it was 327, you can come back and calculate that. And I'm going to say, okay, okay, good. And the gutter, which is the space between the columns, is 20 pixels in this case. It doesn't match perfectly. I can adjust this one until it matches these elements, or I can do the other way around. I think 20 is an easier number to remember. If I want to save this as a style, so I can actually reuse it in other pages, I select here, and I already have one selected, and then you create one new, and you name it. And I'm going to do, and then you can select this one, and it will be added to the list. I already had one previously, that's why it doesn't matter. If you want to edit the settings, you click in the settings here and edit it. So then you can add the elements and base these column settings. So I'm going to select this one element and add it to the desktop. And I'm selecting this, select the desktop, and I'm pasting it. Okay, that's okay. Then I am going to adjust. You always have to be careful about the layers panel is your best friend. You have to make sure that you are actually transferring the container for all these elements, and you can double check that that's what you're doing by hiding and showing. Maybe okay, it adjusted it, good. Then the direction is the mobile version normally is vertical. If I do this, if I took this one and say, okay, I want these boxes to be next to each other, not on top of each other. But if I do this, because the heading is included in that frame, it's kind of putting everything this element next to each other, which is not exactly what I want. So I will keep that in top of each other. And then if you see, there is the cards frame that contains the little cards, 3 cards. Okay, this is the one that I want to be next to each other. So the one that to change the direction. Let's see. I'm going to say with fill container. No, fill hug. The width fill container. Okay, that's the one. The width, so you adjust to the width. And I am going to see if I change. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. And then I select this element here and adjust it as you want it until it fits the one. And this container, this frame here, I want to say in the height, hot content, so it adjusts. And I will keep adding all these elements and transferring next to each other. As you can see, it's the way you organize your frames is very important to make it an easier transition, okay? So sometimes it's worth to have a little bit of time, spending a little bit of time organizing the layers hierarchy to work in the way that you want it and the way that is. You are more than welcome to recreate this and one element at a time, that's fine. There is elements that will need to be recreated, like for example the menu. I do not want like the mobile menu. I want more like a desktop menu with drop-down menus maybe, and that's fine. So okay, that's a bit of an example on how you can transfer easier and more efficiently using the grids and the auto layout. Okay guys, thank you. I'll leave it here. Bye.